Hello everyone. In today's video we are going to talk about Roblox scripting tutorials for beginners. Myself Mohammad Zubair and this channel is all about showing you how to become a highly paid IT pro really fast. So without any further ado, let's get started. Well, first thing first, and let's see how we can download this particular studio. Open your favorite browser and just search for Roblox Studio download and just hit enter. Go for the first link that says Roblox Studio and it will take you to the official website of this particular studio. From this official website, just click on Start Creating button and it will give you an option to download this particular studio. So just click on this Download Studio button now and it will download a small file for you. I'll start the process and you will see that this file is around 2.2 megabyte in size. After that, I'll click on Open and let's install this one into our system. We are almost done with the installation and let's see what do we have to do next. Here it is and it is logging us into Roblox Studio. These are all the templates that are there by default, so it means you do not have to do a lot of things. You can start with any one of these. After that, you have some themes, you have some gameplays that you can go for. Let's go to all templates and this time I'll go for base plate. Just click on it and you are good to go. While in my case, I have already logged into this one and that is why it has not asked me to log into my Roblox Studio account. As you see here, I am logged in. In your case, it might ask you to log into this one and then you are good to go. Do not worry, you just need to click on login button and it will give you two options. Either you can log in with the Roblox Studio or you can log in with the website. So go for the website option and make your account on Roblox website and then it will redirect you to your Roblox Studio. And you are good to go. So let's maximize this one and let's see what we can do in here. So first of all, to have your movements forward, backward and sideways, we have to use the keys WAST. If you press W, it will move forward, with S it will move backward, and for the sideward movements you have to use A and D key. Now to look around, press your right click and move your mouse and it will take you around to your plane. This is what I'm talking about. So this was all about the movement and now let's see what we can do next. So first of all, if you see, we have different sections like home, model, then we have avatar, test, view, and we have plugins. So we'll be using all these in order to create different scenarios and in order to create different train onto our Roblox Studio. First of all, if you go to your home section or home tab, here you will see different options. Here we have part, which is one of them. Just click on it and from here either you can use block, sphere, wedge, corner wedge, cylinder. Let's go for sphere. I'll just click on it and this is how it looks like. Now you can place it anywhere onto your train or onto your environment and you can resize it, you can move it and you can change its position as well. How can we do so? Well, if you see, we have some of the controls like select, move, scale, rotate, etc. But at the moment, let me just delete this one. So for that, I'll just click on it and I'll click on delete button. Now I'll go to my parts one again and this time I'll go for block and this is how it looks like. I'll just place it adjacent to the previous one and now let's increase its size. For that purpose, go to your scale option and now you see we have three options in order to scale it. We can scale it on the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. I'll just increase its width, let's increase its size, and not only that, we can increase its height as well, just like this one. So how easy and how cool it is that we just need to use our mouse in order to change the size of our parts or the resources that we are going to use into our Roblox Studio. Other than that, if you see, we have rotate option. Just click on it and now what it will do, it will allow you to rotate your parts or the resources that you are using into any direction. For example, if you want to rotate it like this, you can do so. Other than that, you can also move it along the x-axis and y-axis as well. And same goes for the movement. Just click on this movement and we have three axes in which directions we can move. For example, you can move like this. If you want to move it upward, just click on this green arrow and drag your mouse upward and it will take you to the upward direction. So this is how movement works. So this was a bit of introduction about the movement, creation, rotation and scaling of your different resources. Now, if you just go to your home section and here it says toolbox, just click on it and this is how it looks like. From here, you can import different resources or different things into your scenario or onto your plane. For example, if I just search for car, I'll just write here car, hit enter. So here we have a lot of them available, and if you see, some of them have a badge on them. Badge shows that these cars are highly quality items and they have been uploaded and they have been used by the Roblox itself. Cars other than this one are not from the Roblox and they have been uploaded by some other users. So it's very safe to use those that have badge on them. So I'll go for this one and I'll just click on it and it will be on to my scenario. From here, just click on OK and you see this is how it looks like. So again, we can resize it, we can reposition it, we can move it as well. I'll just scale it and I'll decrease its size. Let's decrease its height as well. Now I can place it anywhere onto my scenario and this is how it looks like. So this was all about the toolbox, and not only car, you have a lot of other things that you can go for. And here if you click on this drop down arrow that says models, plugins, audio, images, meshes and videos and fonts. So basically you can search for anything for your scenario and for your games. For example, if you go for images, now you can search for any image that contains car in them. So how easy it is. Other than that, let's say you want to import something outside of this Roblox Studio. For that purpose, here we have different options. For example, import 3D model, material manager, color, etc. Let's say I want to import a 3D model. So I just need to click on this one and I can go to the directory where I have a 3D model and I can easily import it into my Roblox Studio. So how easy it is. Now, as we have seen that we can use different things and we can import different things into our Roblox Studios, but it takes a little bit of time, because let's say I want to have a sphere or I want to have a block with 200 by 200 size. So I have to use a lot of them in here, but there should be another way that should ease our work. Well, we do have one. First of all, I'll delete everything from here. I'll just select this one. I'll click on delete or I'll press delete. Now I'll do the same in here. Now this time go to your editor section. Here if you see, we have three options: create, region and edit. Let me close my toolbox. We have different options in here and then we have edit. I'll talk about edit and region later. First of all, go to your create button and from here I'll generate. So I'll just click on it and here I have to define the size. So first of all, I'll go for 150 or let's go for 250. In terms of its y-axis, I'll go for 10, and in terms of its z-axis, I'll go for 250 again. After that, down here we have different options. For example, in terms of material, I want to have water, plain, mountains, and then I do not want to have hills. Down here it says caves. I do not want to have caves, so I'll just disable this one, and after that I just need to click on this generate button, and a train with size of 250 by 250 and 10 in terms of y-axis will be generated and created onto my scenario or onto my Roblox Studio. Now let's just zoom out. For that, I'll right click on my screen and I'll press S, and this is how I'm zooming out. So this is how it looks like now. So how easy it is that with the help of just few clicks, now we are able to have a whole level of scenario and whole level of train onto our Roblox Studio. Now, let's say you want to have water, you want to have grass on this particular plane. For that purpose, now go to your edit section and here we have different section. For example, we have add, subtract, draw, then we have paint and some other options. This time I'll go for paint, and here we have different options and I want to go for grass, so I'll just click on it. So I'll just keep pressing my mouse and you see it is drawing the grass onto my section or onto my train that I have designed. So just keep hovering over it and keep pressing it and it will grow grass onto your train that you have generated. Other than that, here we have another option that says add. If you just click on it and you select grass, you will see that it has a slightly thicker value, and this is how it will grow grass onto your train. So let's go for this option and let's see what does it do. With add option, it might go out of the bound as you can see in here, but it does the work more quickly. Now there is one more thing that I want to discuss, and that is if I go to my paint option, select grass, here if I increase the base size, it will increase the brush size basically. So now you will be able to draw your grass more quickly and more easily. Now we are done with this one and let's have some water in it. Here we have water option. I'll just go for this one. I'll decrease the base size and now I can draw water onto this one, and let's have a pond like this in here. After that, I'll have a stream like this. Let's have another stream on to the other side. So for that I'll decrease the size of my brush and I'll go like this. After that, let me just reposition it. So I'll just zoom out of it and now I think it looks better. Let's add something in here from the toolbox. So I'll just click on it and in here I'll just search for tree. Let's hit enter and let's see what do we get. Here I have tree. Let's just use this one and here it is. Just click on OK and let's resize it. For that I'll go to scale option. I'll decrease its height. You can increase and decrease its width and its length as well. I think I'm okay with this one and now let's position it. So for that I'll go for move option. I'll move it slightly towards the right side and let's place it like this. And now I think we are good to go. Okay, let me zoom in and let's see how does it look like. For that let me go for select option and now this is how it looks like. Okay, we can also have some rocks or some hills into this one. How can we do so? Well, first of all, let me reposition it. As you can see, it is slightly outside of our train. So I'll go for move option and I'll move it towards the right side. And now I think we are good. For having a bit of rock, we have to go to our editor and this time I'll go for rock option. Here it is. Let's increase the brush size. I think this is good. I'll just place some of the rocks in here. And this is how our hills look like. And I think now it looks much better. Here we have an option that says play. Other than that, here we also have an option that says play. And if you just click on this drop down arrow, from here you can play, you can run, or you can play from this particular moment. And this will be used when you will have a bigger scenario and you want to select or you want to test a particular scenario from your game. I'll go for play directly from here and let's see how does it look like. It is loading our character into our game. And if you see, this is how our character look like. This is how it looks like. You can move anywhere, you can go into the water, and if you just move your mouse, it will also show you that how does it look like under the water. Let's get out of this. And here we have a tree house. Let's climb into that one and let's see how does it look like. You can also jump by pressing your space key. And here it is. Let's climb up to that one. So basically it is working pretty fine. So this was all about the basics of Roblox Studio and how we can have different characters, different resources, and how we can use different settings of this particular studio. And this was all about it. And now let's see what we do have next. In order to stop this scenario, in order to stop this play, just click on this stop button and you will be out of it. And now you are ready to customize and configure your scenarios in your Roblox Studio once again. So till now we talked about the tool, how we can set it up, how we can create different environments, and how we can use different resources that are available in this studio. Now let's talk about the scripting. Well, if you have used or if you have worked on any programming language, you might be aware by this term that is called as scripting. Even if you are not familiar with it, do not worry. I'll keep everything very simple so that it will be very easier for you to understand it. Now, first of all, go to your workspace and click on this plus icon and in here search for script. I'll just write here script. Here we have script available. Just click on it and a file like this will get open for you. You see here we have a statement written here as print hello world. Whenever you will run your program or whenever you will start playing your game, this message will be printed. And down here we have a section that is called as output. So whatever written in this script will be printed in here. Now, in order to run this script, just click on this play button and you will see our program will run. And down here you can see it says hello world. It means our script is fine and it is working. Now let's see what we can do in here. First of all, let's talk about the print statement. Well, in print statement, we can have different kind of messages. First of all, we can have any string, and to print any string, you should use double quotation marks as you can see in here. We have opening double quotation marks, then at the end, we also have double quotation mark in order to close the string and in order to tell the program that we are done with the string. Other than string, you can also print out the numbers. For example, if I just remove everything and now if I write anything in here, for example, I'll write here 4 and if I print this statement, 4 will be printed as an output. Let's write here 4 plus 4. What do you think will be the output? Yes, it will be 8. Let me just save this program and now let me just stop it first. Here it is. After that, let's play it or let's rerun it. So I'll just click on this play button and you will see 8 will be printed in here. Here we have 8. It means our print statement is working pretty fine. Okay, there is one more thing that I want to discuss in here, and that is, let me just click on OK and let me stop this program first. There is a difference between string and integers. For example, if I write here 4 like this is an integer, but if I put the parentheses around it like this one, and if I write 4 inside it, this is a string. This is not a number, it will take it as a string. For example, if I write here 4 plus 4, the output will be 4 plus 4, not 8. Let me run this to show you. Here you see, we have 4 plus 4, not 8 as an output, because our program has taken this input as a string. Let me go back, let me stop this program, and now if I remove these quotation marks, output will be 8. So make sure whenever you want to use a number or a string, because there is a difference. Other than this, we can also have some true-false statements inside our print statement. Just write here print, and inside your parentheses, you can go for true or false. Let me show you an example in here. If I write here if statement, space, and here we have a scenario. I'll write here if 4 is greater than 3, it means this is true. Then I'll print a message in here. I'll write here print, and inside that I'll write here true. So basically what it will do, first of all, it will check if this scenario is true. In case it is, this will print this message. Now let's just save this program. Let's click on this play button and our script will run. And here you will see we'll have a message as true down here, just like this. It means it is working pretty fine. Let me just stop this one. Let's go back. And other than this, we can also have decimal points in our print statement. For that, just write here print, and inside that you can have any decimal points like 0.435, and you can go up to so on. In case if you want to go for the comments, or if you want to use some comments into your script, we have to use dash. Just press your double dash, and after that you are ready to comment anything into your program. Comment is something that you use for your own reference. It is not part of your program, it is not part of your script, but it is something that is in your program for your reference. For example, let's say I have thousands or hundreds of lines of code and I have several if statements in that. So in case, just to keep the reference of a particular if statement, I can have a comment. I'll write here, this if statement is for true clause. Now whenever I'll come back to this program, I can read this comment and I can know about what this if statement is about. So this is how, and this is why we use comment into our script. And that was all about the print statement. And now let's talk about the variables. Well, variable is something that we can use to store some values that we can change later on. For example, let's say I have 12 boxes and I want to keep them in one variable, or I want to keep all of their value in one variable. For that purpose, first of all, we have to declare a variable. And you can name your variable anything until and unless it is not a keyword or it is not going against the rules. For example, you cannot have your variable name starting with a number. You must start your variable name with your alphabet or with your character. So for example, if I write here value, or you can go for Zubair, or you can go for, let's say, sun, or anything. You can name your variable anything. This time I'll go for boxes equals 12. Now we have a value 12 stored in a variable that is called as boxes. And if we print this, I'll write here print, and inside that if I call boxes, what do you think will be the output? The output will be 12, because boxes keeps 12 as a value. So let's just click on this play button and we'll see 12 as an output. Here it is, and as expected, we have 12. Let me just stop this and let's go back to our scripting and let's see what we can do more. Okay, in case if you want to keep a string in your variable, you can do so as well. For example, if I write here name equals, and for string we must use inverted commas. So I'll use inverted commas or double quotation marks. Inside that we can keep anything. I'll write here my name is Zubair, and you can run this program and this will be your output when you will call this variable. For that I'll write here print, and inside that I'll call my variable which is name, and my output will be my name is Zubair this time. Okay, now I'll show you one more thing, and that is if I go for another variable, let's say this time I'll call it as boxes1 and I'll keep the value as 10. Now let's go for print statement. In my print statement, what I'll do, I'll call both of these variables with the name of boxes and box1. First of all, I'll call my first variable, which is boxes. I'll give it a space plus icon, and then I'll call my second variable, which is box1. Okay, now what will happen if I run this program or if I run this script? Well, this print statement will add both of these variables. First one is 12, second one is 10, so the output will be 22. Let me just click on this play button and let's see what do we get. So here if you see, as expected, 22 is the output in here. So basically, print statement has added both of those variables and whatever the value was in there. So this is how you can have your both variables or more than one variable printed inside a print statement. You might be wondering, can we print out string along with a variable that contains integer value? No, we cannot do that. We have to follow some structure for that. In case if you want to do that, for example, if I write here name instead of box1, if I run this program, we'll have an error because it will say we are trying to perform arithmetic operation on integer and string, which is not possible. So you cannot do that. So that was all about the variable and how we can declare them. And now let's move ahead. Before we move ahead with any scripting concept, there is one thing that I want to discuss, and that is object-oriented. Well, in Roblox, we can implement object-oriented phenomena that works with objects. Here if you see, we have workspace, and under the workspace, we have different things that we can access. Workspace is like a parent in here, and it has different childs with the name of camera, terrain, script, spawn location, base plate, etc. Then under the base plate, we have one more child. Same goes for this one. And then we have another parent with the name of player, and inside that we have different child. So what we can do, we can access these childs with their names. Let's say I want to access spawn location. How can I do that? Well, first of all, I need to write here game because all of this come under the game, and game is the parent of workspace. So I'll write here game dot. Dot will allow us to access further thing. And as you can see, as soon as I have entered dot, we have different childs that comes under the game. This time I'll go for workspace. I'll just hit enter. Then again, I'll press dot, and then we have different childs that come under the workspace. I'll hit enter on the spawn location. After that, this time I want to access a property from this particular side. If I just click on this spawn location, here you see we have different variables that we can access. Let me go back to my game, and here we have transparency. If I just click on it, I can decrease it or I can increase it. And if I go for the 0 transparency, our surface will look like this. And if I go for 1, it will be transparent completely. So what we can do, we can change this value in our game as per our liking, as per our requirements. So I'll write here dot, and as I want to access transparency, here it is. You will say, or you will think that transparency is not a child in here. Then how it is under the spawn location? Well, it is a property and it's a variable that comes under this particular parent. That is why it is coming after that. So after that, I'll just hit enter, and here I can set any value for transparency. Let's say I want to go for 0.5. Now let's click on this play button and let's see how does it look like, or even if it works or not. It is loading our game, and you will see now we have 0.5 as transparency onto our this particular service. So this is how object-oriented phenomena can be implemented in your Roblox scripting. So that was a bit of introduction of it, and now let's go back and let's continue with our normal scripting, and let's see what do we have next. And now let's talk about different arithmetic operations that we can perform. Well, just like any programming language, we can do all the arithmetic operations in our Roblox as well. For example, if I write here print, and inside that I can use any arithmetic operation with 2 operands. For example, I write here 3 plus 3, it will give 6 as an answer. So let me just copy this line and we'll use that multiple times. So I'll just hit enter, let's paste it multiple times. For the second operation, let's go for minus. For the third one, let's go for division, and for the last one, let's go for multiplication. After that, we'll get answer for each one. We have different other ways that we can follow in order to perform arithmetic operations. For example, if I write here a equals 10, b equals 20, and now I can perform arithmetic operations on these 2 variables as well. How can we do so? Well, you just need to write here print statement, and inside your print statement, you just need to call your variables. I'll call A, and let's say I want to divide A with B. So I just need to write here division, and then I'll call my second variable, which is B, and it is right here. Okay, now let's just play this script and let's see what do we get as result. So as expected, for the addition we have 6 as an answer, for subtraction we have 0, for division we have 1, and for multiplication we have 9. And down here we have the answer for the variables that we have used in a print statement. So these are different arithmetic operations that you can perform in your Roblox Studio. There are many others, but we'll talk about all of those ahead in this video if needed. So that was all about the arithmetic operations, and now I'll talk to you about the functions that we can have and we can perform in a Roblox Studio. Well, function is a self-contained module or piece of code that accomplish a specific task. Usually we use function where we do not want to repeat the line of code again and again. In a function, we just need to write a piece of code once and we can use that piece of code again and again anywhere in our program. So if you have any idea about any programming language, you might be aware of that. Even if you're not, do not worry. First of all, we have to use a keyword that will define and that will tell us, Roblox Studio, that we are going to use a function. And that keyword is function itself. So I'll just write here function, as you can see here. After that, give it a space, and you should name your function something. You can name your function anything, just like a variable, but make sure you do not name your function with a number. So I'll write here ABC. After that, I can give any number as per my liking, but at the start of function name, we cannot have a number. After that, we should have its parentheses. Get out of parentheses, hit enter. And down here you would see we have a line that says end. End suggests, or you can say end indicates that this is the end of the boundary or the scope of this function. Anywhere that will be written inside these two lines will be the part of function, and whenever you will call your function will be executed. So for example, if I write here print, and inside that let's print a string. I'll write here SBT or skills build training. After that, YouTube channel. And now if I try to run this, or if I try to play this script, you will not get this print statement or this output onto your output section. Why is that so? Well, this is because at the moment we have just declared everything. We have to call this function anywhere in our program so that it can be executed and it could show what is right there in it. So for that purpose, I'll just get out of my function, and here I'll call my function. And what is the name of my function in here? It is ABC. So simply I'll write here ABC. After that, we should have its parentheses, just like this one. These parentheses shows or indicates that this is a function. If there was no parentheses like this one, ABC would have been a variable. So that is why we have to make sure that we are calling our function. Now if I play this script, you will see we'll have SBT YouTube channel as an output. Here you see we have output as expected. It means our function is working pretty fine and we do not have any problem. Okay, there are several other ways that we can follow in order to use functions. We can also use variables in it. For example, if I write here, let's create another function. So I'll write here function, and let's name this function as add. You can name your function anything, as you know. After that, let's have its boundary. Here it is. And if I write here print, and inside that, what if I use two variables and I add them? So I'll write here A plus B. Now you might be wondering that where do we have these two variables? Well, you can have these two variables in the definition of your function. I'm talking about this place. So if I write here A comma B, now these two variables have been declared with our function, and we can use these two variables inside our function just like this. Now, whenever you will call this function, you can pass the values for these two. Okay, let's do that. I'll just hit enter and I'll call my variable as add. And now inside that, instead of these two variables which were A and B, we have to pass the values for these two. So now I'll pass 10, 5. So now when I'll run this script, 15 will be an answer because this function will add 10 and 5 with this print statement and it will be shown onto our output. So let me just remove the first function from here. I'll just remove it Let's just save this and let's play this script and let's see what do we get. So here you will see that we have 15 as an answer. So that shows that our variables are working pretty fine and we have declared them successfully. So now if I just remove these two from here, and now I'll declare these two variables outside of my function. So I'll write here a equals 10, hit enter, b equals 5. And now you see we do not have any error in here. And as we have declared these two variables here, so we do not have to pass the values in this function when we are calling it. So I'll simply remove these two, and now if we run this script, we'll get 15 as an output. So these are the different ways that you can declare your functions, and these are different ways that how you can use your function and how you can perform different operations inside it. So that was all about the function, and I hope now you have an idea that what functions are and how they work. And now let's talk about the conditional statement. And in conditional statement, we'll see if statements. If statement is a block of code that gets executed upon checking the condition. For example, let me just write it here. I'll write here x equals 3. After that, I'll write here if, give it a space, and if I write 3 equal, or let's go for 10 equal 10, space, then hit enter. Now you see we have end at the bottom line. That shows the scope of if statement. So whatever you will write between if and end lines, everything will get executed upon this condition. So basically if statement will check if this condition is true. So at the moment, yes, it is true. 10 is obviously equals to 10. Okay, there is one more thing that you might have seen, and that is in if statement we are using two equal sign. But when we declare something or when we give a value to a variable, we use single equal sign. Why is that so? Well, single equal to sign gets used for the assignment of the variable or assignment of the value, and double equal to sign gets used for the comparison. So as we are comparing 10 with 10, that is why we have used double equal sign. So if this condition is true, then it will print out or it will execute anything that you will write in between the lines. So basically, as we know that this condition is true, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a print statement in here. So I'll write here print, and inside that we can have any message. I'll write here true. Let's just run this and let's see what do we get. So as the condition is true, we'll get true as an output as expected. So here if you see, we have true as an output. So this was pretty obvious because we also know that 10 is equal to 10 obviously. Let's use some variable this time. I'll just remove 10 from here, I'll use x. And now we know that x is equal to 3 because we have declared it at the top, and here we are checking if it is equal to 10. As we know this is not true, so we'll not get this particular output. So let me just run this one, and you see we do not have any output because the condition is false, and that is why nothing got executed. Okay, you might be wondering, what if we write here false? Will it run? No. Well, it is because if this condition is true, only then your program will move to the next line. Otherwise, it will ignore everything and it will get out of your if statement. So that is why it will not print false here as well. We have several other things that we can perform with if statement. For example, if I declare another variable in here, I'll name it as y equal to 6. Now in my if statement, I'll use two conditions. I'll write here if x equals to 10 and y equal to 6. So basically it will check both of these conditions simultaneously, and if both of these are true, then it will execute the next line, which is print statement. But as we know that x is not equal to 10, and that is why it will ignore everything. Let me just remove 10 from here and let's go for 3, and now we know that both of these conditions are true. And now if you try to run your script, you will get this line as an output. So let me just replace it with true. Now we are good. Let's play this. And here if you see, we have true statement as an output. Let's go back to script. Let me just stop this one. Just like AND, we also have OR operator. So as we have seen the arithmetic operator in the previous section of this video, these are two another operators that we use, and these are AND and OR. So again, I'll remove AND from here and I'll replace it with OR. Now what it will do, it will check if any one of these conditions is true, it will execute the next line. So let's just make first one false. I'll just go for 10, and now we know this condition is false, but this one is true. So as we are using OR in here, it will execute the next line very easily, because that's the case with OR statement. Now let's just play this and let's see if we get print as true or not. Yes, we do get true as an output. Okay, so we have seen that how we can compare different variables and their values. Along with that, we can also see some boolean, and we can also check if boolean values can be printed or not. So if I declare another variable, I'll declare it as z equals true. Now instead of these variables, I'll check if my z is equal to true or not. So I'll just write here z equal true, then print true. So as we know that the condition is true, it will print this statement out. So I'm not going to run it this time. Let's see how we can use if statement with respect to our program. So as we know that we have different objects in here, we have spawn location, we have base plate, and we have some other. Let's try to use if statement with respect to any one of these. I'll go for transparency. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going for game.workspace.spawn location. I'll go for transparency. Let's set it value as 0.6. After that, let's check it with our if statement. So what I need to do here, I'll write here if game.workspace.spawn location.transparency equals 0.6. If this condition is true, then print true. So as you can see, we do not have transparency as 0.6. So what it should do? It should not print this out, but it will print this out. Why? Because we have set the value as 0.6 before executing our if statement. So let me just play this game, or let me just play this script. So as expected here, if you see, we have true as an output. So that was all about the if statement. And now let's see how we can use else statement along with the if statement. So basically, this is my if statement. So let's say if this condition is not true, I'll write here false. And as we know, this condition is not true because z is equal to true. It will ignore the next statement. But I do not want that. I want my program, or I want my script to show me a message that my condition was false, or I want to execute something into my program if my condition gets false. Because this is not an optimal solution that whenever our condition gets false or gets neglected or gets rejected, our program should stop or ignore the next line. This is not an optimal solution. So for that, we should have a solution. An else statement is the solution for it. So let's see how if else statement works. As I have z equal to false, then print true. And in case if this condition is false, what I want to have else statement. So I'll write here else, and then I want to print a statement. So I'll write here print, and here I'll write z, or let's have a string in here. So I'll write here z is equals to true. Now let's understand this. So as we know that z is equal to true, its value is true, and first of all in if statement we are checking if z is equal to false, and this condition is false as we know. That is why our if statement will ignore this particular line, and earlier it was just getting out of if clause. But now as we have the else statement in here, our program will ignore this particular line and will go directly to this one, and then it will execute this particular section. And here we have a message as z is equal to true. And now if we run this, we'll get this particular output. So let's just click on this play button. And as I told you, we have z is equal to true output. Let's just go back. Let me just stop this. Now let's make it true. And now what will happen? As first condition is true, our program will ignore the second part, which is else, because we are meeting the condition right here. So now let's just play this, and here it says true. So this is how if else statement works. Let me make it more simpler for you. What I'll do here, I'll write x equal 6 and y equal 10. And as you know that both of these conditions are false, as we have x equal to 3 and y equal to 6, it will ignore this line and you can go for else statement. And in this one, I'll write here if condition was false and one or both variable are not meeting the condition. Now let's just play this script, and as expected here, if you see, we have the message as if condition was false and one or both variables are not meeting the condition. You can go for or, And now as both of these conditions are false, it will again show this message. But let's make first one true. As we know, x is equal to 3. So that is why I'm writing here x equal to 3. So I'll write here if clause got executed. Now let's play this and let's see what do we get. Okay, we have a spelling mistake in here, but do not worry. Here it says if clause got executed. So that shows our if clause is working pretty fine. So what if we have more than 2 conditions in here? Let's say I want to check another condition in here instead of these 2. Well, for that purpose, you just need to write here else if. And here you can have another condition. So let me just remove the first one. I'll just remove it from here and I'll go for x equal to 6. And here I'll check else if x equal to 3. Then I want to print this particular message. And after that, I can have else statement at the end of it. So I'll write here else and hit enter, and here we'll have a particular message that we want. So basically what our program will do, our program will check the first condition. If it is true, it will print this statement out. If it is not, it will go for else if statement and it will check the second condition. If this is true, it will print out this statement. If it is not, it will go for the next else if statement. Yes, you can have as many else if statement as per your liking and as per your need. After that, at the end, if all of the conditions are false, it will execute the else statement by default. So whatever the message you will write in your else statement will get executed or will be printed onto your screen as an output in case if all your conditions are false. So here, as the second condition is true, it will print the second message. So let me just replace it. So I'll write here second message. And for the last one, I'll write here last message, because I'll show you this one as well. Let me just correct the spellings in here. So I'll just write here clause. I'll just remove R from here. And now let's just execute this one. Now we should get second message as an output because second condition is true, and as expected we have second message. So let me just stop this one. Let's go back to script and let me just make this one false as well. I'll write here 5. So as we know that our both conditions are false, now it will go to the else statement by default and it will print this particular message. Let me just click on this play button. Here you see we have last message as an output, and that shows that else block got executed. So that was all about the if-else statement and how you can use more than one if-else clause in your scripts. And that was all about it. And now let's see what do we have next. And now let's talk about loops. And I'll talk about while loop and repeat loop. Well, loop is something that allows you to perform certain operations, certain things, and do different tasks in your program multiple times by only writing the code once. So let me show you an example. So I'll write here x equals 10. And here I'll use a loop as while loop. So I'll write here while, and after that we have to write the condition. So I'll write here x is less than 10. Okay, at the top I'll go for 1, and here I'll write space do, hit enter, and here I'm asking my loop to check this condition. If it is true, do these things that I'm going to write in this particular section. So for this moment I'll write here print, and inside that let's have a string, and for the message I'll go for SBT, which is skills build training. Now at this particular moment this loop will keep on running because there is no condition that will make this while loop to stop, because this condition is true as x is 1, and here we are checking if x is less than 10. So it will stay true and it will keep on printing this message. So we have to do something in here. We have to write a line of code or have a condition that will force our while loop to stop at some point. So for that purpose what I'll do, I'll write here x equals x plus 1. So whenever this while loop will get executed, it will increment a value by 1 in x. So it will be 2, for the next time it will get to 3, then 4, then 5, and until and unless it gets to 10, this condition will be false and our program will get out of our while loop. So now let's print the value of x as well. So I'll write here print, and inside that I'll have x. Let's just run this and let's see how does it look like and how does it work. So here if you see, here it has started and incremented the value in x by 2, then SBT, then 3, then SBT, then 4, and it has stopped at 10. Why? Because at 10 the condition got false and our while loop got stopped. Let me just stop this program. Other than this comparison operator, you can use other as well. You can go for less than equal to, you can go for greater than equal to, you can go for equal to, and everything will work. So it's all up to you and to your logic and the requirement of your program, that with which operator you want to go. So that was all about the while loop, and now let's talk about the repeat loop, what it is and how it works. And now I'll write here repeat, hit enter. If you remember, in while loop we had our condition first and then we were having our print statement, but that is not the case with repeat loop. Here we have to use our print statement or our condition or whatever we want to do first, and then we'll check our condition. So I'll write here print, and in that you can have anything. I'll write here SBT, and in terms of the condition, I'll have a condition as x equals 10. Earlier we were checking if x is less than 10, and here it says until x equals to 10. So until and unless this condition is false, it will keep on running. And as soon as this condition is true, this will stop the repeat loop and it will get out of this. So at the moment, it will keep on running and running because there is no such thing that will increment the value in x. And as it is false, it will keep on running. So again, just like while loop, we have to have increment in the x value. So I'll write here x equals x plus 1 as we are incrementing the value. And now we can have our condition as true. Hit enter, let's print x as well. So I'll write here print, and inside that let's print x. Let's just run this script and let's see what do we get as an output. So here if you see, here it has started with 2, 3, 4, 5 and it has gone up to 10. And along with that, it has printed the message SBT that we had in our print statement. So it means our repeat loop is working pretty fine. So now if we talk about the difference between repeat loop and while loop, well, in repeat loop, we have our print statement or scenarios first and then we check the condition. But in while loop, we have our condition first and then we perform different operations. And another difference is in while loop, we make sure that condition is true. But in repeat loop, we go for the false condition. As you can see, until and unless this condition is false, we'll keep on going. Until and unless this gets true, we'll stop. So that was all about the while loop, and now let's see what do we have next. And now let's talk about the events. Well, event is something that your program listens to, and we have different event listeners that also help us with that. For example, here as you can see, we have a base plate, and if something happens to this one, or let's say you are playing your game, you hit a tree or you hit a branch or you go into water. So upon touching those things, you want to perform some actions. So for that purpose, these events helps us. Now I'll show you that how we can do so and how we can use these events into our program. So first of all, let me go to my part section. Here it is, and let's have something. At this moment, I'll go for block. Here it is, and let's go to its properties. And here we have a property as anchored. I'll just check this one. Other than that, let me click on this move section. And now I want it in air. So I'll just move it upward. Now we are good to go. Okay, now go to your workspace, and again, we need script. So I'll just go for script. It is right here. And now I'll remove everything from here. And now you might have an idea that we access anything with the help of game dot workspace, hit enter, again dot, and as you know, we edit part. So I'll just go for this one, and you can rename your part as well. So just click here, double click on it, and you can name your part anything. I'll name it as my part, hit enter. So again, I'll do the same in here. So I'll write here my part, here it is. And now I'll have dot, and as soon as I have written here TO, it showed me touched, and it is an event listener, and you can distinguish between event listener and property with this sign. So the lightning bolt sign shows that it's an event listener or it's an event. So just go for this one, and after that I'll have my colon, and in here I'll write connect, because whenever this part gets touched, I want to perform something. So in my case, I'll go for function. Here it is, and after that we should have its parentheses, hit enter, and we are good to go. So whatever I'll write in here, so let's say I write here print part got touched. Let's save this one and let's play this game. Let's see what do we get as an output. So whenever we touch our part or our block that we have inserted into our scenario, we'll see a message onto the screen. So here you see, as I'm on to my part, we have output as part got touched, and here it is multiplying it and it is increasing the value, because as soon as we touch it, it increments the value by 1. So it shows that it is working pretty fine. As you can also see that our part is anchored in the air. Let's go back to our script. So first of all, let's just stop this one and let's go back to our script. And what if I want to use a custom script or a custom function into this one instead of this function? Well, we can do so as well. For that purpose, I'll just remove everything from here. Let me just close the parentheses. And what I'll do this time, I'll declare another function at the top. So you can name your function anything. I'll write here as function space. Now you need to name your function. I'll name it as my function. It's parentheses and let's hit enter. Now we can have anything into this one. I'll write here print. Let's have a message. I'll write here first statement. For the second message, I'll write here print, and in here I'll write here part got touched. And as we know that our part is anchored into the air, let's make it false. So for that, I'll write here game dot workspace dot my part dot anchored, and I'll make it false. So I'll write here equals false. So whenever I'll touch my part that I have included into my game, it will not be anchored into the air and it will drop down onto the surface. Now, as we have declared our function, now it's time to include this function into this event. How can we do so? Well, just go to your parentheses and here call your function. And the name of our function is my function. So I'll write here my function, here it is. And now you do not need to have its parentheses. Let's just play this game and let's see how does it work. So here we are into our game, and as soon as I'll touch it, you will see two messages and this will drop down onto the surface. Here you see it dropped down onto the surface, and along with that we got two other messages that say first statement, part got touched, and something like that. So if you keep on moving on to this one, or if you keep on touching in this, you will keep on getting these messages. So this is how event works, and this was all about the events. Now, question is, what if I want to see all the events that are available with respect to my objects into my Roblox Studio? Well, for that purpose, go to your view section, and in here you will see a section that says object browser. Just click on it, and here we have all the objects that are available into our Roblox Studio. So let me just go to the part as we have used it, and here it is. I'll just click on it, and here we have different events and different functions that we can perform with this particular object. So if you just scroll down, you will see all of them. Here we have anchored that we have just used. Down here we'll also have touched. So if you just keep scrolling down, you will have the information about each and every one. And here you have touched that we have used previously. So this was all about the events and how we can use them and what are the different things that are associated with them. And now let's move ahead and let's see what do we have next. And now let's talk about the tables. Well, till now we have seen that in one variable we can store one type of value. For example, if I write here a equals 10, b equals, and here let's store something in string. So I'll write here sbt. So here you see we can only store one type of data in one variable. But with the help of tables, we can have any number of values and any type of value in a variable. So first of all, just like any other variable, we have to declare our variable or our table. You can name your table anything. So I'll write here my table equals, and as we are going to store more than one value in it, we have to use curly braces. Curly braces indicates that this is a table data type. After that, start writing your values in it. So first of all, I'll go for 12, then let's go for 45, then let's go for any random number, and for the last value, let's have some string. I said last value. It doesn't mean you cannot enter any more values. You can go up to so on as per your liking. So we are done with having all the values for our table. Now what if I want to print this out? So for that purpose, you need to write your print statement, and in that you will pass your table that was my table. And now let's say I want to print the second value from my table. So for that, here I have to use the large brackets, and in that I'll pass the index. So this is the first one, then second one, then third one, and here is the fourth one. So as I want second one, so I'll write here 2. And now let's just play this script. And here if you see, we have 45 as an output because 45 was on the second place. Let me just stop this one. Okay, what if I want to go for the fourth one as it's a string? Do not worry, just change the index and write here 4 and you are good to go. So let's just play this one and let's see if we get string as an output. Yes, we do get string as an output. So it means our table is working pretty fine. Now, there are several functions that are available that we can use with our table. For example, if I write here table dot, these are all the functions that are available and all of them are built in. For example, we have pack, we have sort, clear, clone, concat, create, freeze, and we have many other. So let's see some of those. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some values in my table, and I'll make sure that all of these are in numbers or in integers. So for the fourth value, I'll have another random value, then I'll have one more, let's have two more in here. So okay, we are done in here. Now let's use some built-in function. First of all, I'm going to use table dot sort, and in that we have to pass a table, and that was my table. Hit enter. Okay, here we have to correct the spelling, so I'll write here table, and now I think we are good to go. So what sort will do, it will sort everything and your every number in ascending or descending order. So basically it will start with 1 if it is going for ascending order, then we'll have 7, then it will go for 12, 23, 32, 45, and in last it should have 89. So this is what sort does. Now let's use some other function of table. This time I'll go for table dot remove. As the name suggests, this will remove a particular entry from your table. So first of all, we need to call our table, and then we have to write the entry number that we want to remove. So if I go for the third one, which is 23, so I'll simply write here 3, and now let's print it out as well. So I'll write here print, and in that I'll have my table, and I'll go for the third index. So I'll write here 3 in here. So it should give us 23, but as we are removing it first, that is why we'll have 32 as an output. So let's just play this, or let's just run this script, and let's see what do we get. So as expected, 32 is an output. It shows that 23 has been removed successfully from our table. At the end, let's talk about one more function of table, and that is concate. Let me just remove the input from a print statement, and in that I'll write here table dot concate. Concate stands for concatenation, and in that I'll call my table, which is my table, and then I'll have a comma, and I'll go for double quotation marks. What this indicates? It indicates that concate everything that you have in this particular table into this particular string. So now if I run this, or if I play this script, you will see all of these values in one single string or in one single output. Let me just click on this play button, and here you see we have everything as single output. Let's go back. Let me just stop this, and in here what I want to have a space between each entry that I have originally into my table. So now you will see that we'll have space between each input. So let's just click on this play button, and let's see what do we get this time. So here you see we have space between each entry in here. You can also go for a comma, or you can also go for something else like dash, underscore. It's all up to you. I'll go for comma. Let's have space in it as well. Now each entry will have space and comma in it. So I'll just click on this play button, and let's see how does it look like. Here you see we have comma after every entry and a space. So these were some of the functions that are built in terms of our table, and that was all about the table, that how we can create them, how we can use them, and what are the different type of values we can have in a table. So that was all about it, and now let's see what do we have next. And now let's talk about the leaderboard or leader stats. Well, leaderboard or leader stats are the readings that we see on different games. Or if you have tried some simulation or some simulation games, or if you have tried some terminal based games, we see some ratings at the top of our screen. Those ratings are about the system resources, some of them are about the system performance, some of them are about the player's performance, his points that he has earned in the game, and things like that. So we'll see how we can have these kind of ratings in our Roblox Studio. So first of all, we have to have a script. So I'll just go to my workspace, and in here I'll look for script. Here it is. Let's just open this one. After that, we have to go to our view section, and here we have object browser. Let me show you one thing. So here we need to look for something that is called as player. So we'll go to the P section. Here it is. I'll just click on this one, and here we'll have event that will be called as player added. We need this event into our script so that we can have leader stats or leaderboard. So here we have the summary of it, what it does. So now let's go back to our script, and let's create a script for leader stat or leaderboard. First of all, what we need to do, as we know that in order to access any object into our Roblox Studio, we go for game dot, and as we are going to use players, so I'll go for players, and after that I'll use its event called as player added. Here it is. After that I want to connect it, so I'll go for connect, and in that I'll pass a function. So I'll write here function, its parentheses, and in its parentheses I want to pass a player that I want to have in my game. So I'll simply write here player, and now we are good to go. I'll get out of this parenthesis and I'll hit enter, and here we have the boundary of this particular section. Now what we need to declare, or we need to create a variable for our leader stats. So I'll write here leader stats, and that will be equal to an instance. What is the instance? Let me just explain it to you. First let me write it. So I'll write here instance dot new, and inside its parentheses I'll have a string, or you can say I'll have a name. So I'll name my instance as folder, and after that I'll have a comma, and I'll pass the player that I had in my function. So I'll simply write here player, and here we are. So basically what we are doing here, we are creating a variable with the name of leader stat, and it will have a new instance of a folder that we want, in which will have all the players. So basically we are creating a new folder with the name of folder, and in that we are passing the player that we'll create into our game. There is one more thing that I want to explain to you, and that is sometime when you will declare a variable, it might not work. As it says global leader stat is only used in the enclosing function defined at line 1. So basically sometime you have to explicitly define that your variable is on local level. So I'll simply write here local space, and now you see we do not have any problem with our variable. So we are done with the variable, we are done with the folder creation and its instance. Now we need to give a name to this particular player or this particular section. So what I'll do here, I'll simply write here leader stats, after that dot name, because we want to have its name, equals, and here we'll define a name. So make sure you go for the leader stats, because Roblox Studio is designed in such a way that it only works with leader stats. So now we are done with naming it. I'll hit enter, and now let's come down. Here we need to have another variable, and this time I'll write here local, because as I told you that sometimes we have to explicitly define a variable as local. After that I'll go for points, because we need to calculate points, and that is why I'm creating a variable with the name of point. After that equals, again instance dot, yes you are right, new, and in that we need to use something. Earlier we had folder, and this time I need to have int value. Int value is something that we use in our Roblox Studio, and it contains different values in it. And as the name suggests, it will contain int values. If you go to your workspace, here search for int, here it is, here we have int value. You can just open this one, here it is. So basically we can use this one, and I'm doing same thing in here by calling it in here. I do not need it in here, so I'll simply delete it. Now let's come back. So here, what is the value, or where do we want to have its value? I want to have its value for leader stats. So I'll write here leader stats. We are done with this one. Let's come down, and now we need to give the name to our points. So I'll simply write here points dot new, or let's go for name this time because we need name of it, equals to, and here we'll define its name. I'll go for points simply. I'll go for capital P. So we are done with the points, and now we'll be able to see the points on the top section of our game whenever we start to play it. And from here, make sure to go for the capital N in terms of its name, because it will take the value only then. Now let's just play this, and let's see if we have this leader stat on the top of our game. So here you see we have player name, and here we have its point. And now we need something that will force our game to increase these points or to earn this point by the player. So for that purpose, let me just stop this one and let me go back to my script. Okay, just like this one, you can have more than one thing into your game, into your leader stat or leaderboard. Let me just hit enter. I'll paste it one more time, and you can name your second reading anything. Or let's say I'm using this to see the remaining lives. After that, I have to declare it in here as well. So I'll write here life, and in terms of its names, I'll go for the life as well. So I'll write here life. And now we are good to go. Let me just play this game and let's see how does it look like. So now you see we have points available, we have the lives available for the player. We are done with the leaderboard or leader stat creation. Now we need something that will help us to have the increment in the points whenever a player do something. So for that purpose, let me just stop this one. Let me just go back to my base plate and we need to increase its size. So for that purpose, I'll go for scale and let's increase its size. So I'll just do that. I'll do that in here as well. Now I think we are good to go. So basically what we need to do, we need to have something onto this particular base plate. So for that, I'll go for the part and let's go for the sphere. I'll just drop it in here. Let's move it and let's place it anywhere. After that, let's change its color. So here we have the color. You can have any color as per your liking. I'll go for this green color. I'm okay with this one. And let's increase its size a little bit. And now we are good to go. So now let's go back to script and now let's have a logic for the increment in the points. So first thing first, we need to create another script. So for that, I'll click on this plus icon and I'll write here script. Here it is. And you can name your script anything. I'll just right click on it and I'll go for rename. I'll go for points earned so that we can differentiate between both of these files. I'll hit enter and here it is. So what we need to do in here, first of all, let me go back to my object browser and here we have to look for an object that is called as click detector. Here it is. Let me just click on this and from here we have to use an event that is called as mouse click. If you just click on it, down here we have the summary, what it is, what it does. So it says fired when a player clicks on the parent part of click detector. So basically it will allow you to have the increment in your values whenever a player will hit or will interact with something onto your game. So basically we are going to use this one. So now let's go back to our file. Let me just clear everything from here. Let me come down and now I'll write here script dot parent, because if you remember in the summary it says whenever a player clicks on the parent part of the click detector. So that is why we have to go for the parent. After that dot, and as we are going to use click detector, so I'll simply write here click detector and here you will see we are not been able to see click detector. Why is that so? Well, if you come down to your part section and if you just click on this plus icon, you will see we'll have click detector available in here. Let me just search for that. Here it is. So we need this one into our part. So I'll just use this one and after that let's move our point earned file into this one as well. So here it is. Now we are good to go and now let's have a logic to earn points. So I'll just remove everything from here and let's go back and let's rewrite everything. Script dot parent dot click detector the dot and now we need to go for mouse click. So I'll go for mouse click and again connect, and in that just like earlier we have to pass a function and in our function we have to pass the name of the player. Here it is. Hit enter and we are good with declaring it. And now to have the increment in the player's point, what we need to do, we need to have a variable first. So I'll write here local and after that we have to declare a variable. You can name your variable anything. So I'll write here p points, basically player points, equals. Now I'll write here player that we have declared and used in our function dot leader stat. We have used here leader stats because our points are in leader stat. Let me go back to my script. Here it is. Here you can see. Now dot and here we have to use our points. So I'll write here points and now we are good to go. After that we are left with only one thing, and that is we have to increment in this particular value. How can we do so? Well, first of all we just need to use a variable which was p point. So I'll write here p point. Here it is dot value, as we are going to increase its value. So I'll go for value equals and again I'll use my variable which is p point dot value. And if you remember that when we were using our loops, while loops or repeat loops, we were incrementing the value of our variable. And how we were incrementing it? We were incrementing it by +1. We'll do the same in here. So I'll simply write here +1. And now what it will do, it will increment the value by 1 into the player points. Before we move ahead, I want to have a block in here instead of sphere, because there is a problem with sphere, and that is whenever a player hits a sphere, it keeps on moving and it also goes out of the base plate. That is why I'm going for the block this time. So here we have our part. Let me just increase its size a little bit. I'll just move it towards this side and let's change its color. Again, I'll go for the green. Here it is, and we are good to go. And now let's try to play this game and let's see how does it look like and if it works or not. So I'll just click on this play button. And here we have our player, and as soon as it clicks on this one or it interacts with this one, you see there is an increase in a value by 1 every time there is a movement on this particular block. So that shows that it is working pretty fine, and this is how leaderboard or leader stat works. And that was all about this section, and that also brings me to the end of this particular video. I wanted to keep this particular course short, that is why we have only discussed those things that really matters while scripting in Roblox Studio. And I hope now that you must have liked and enjoyed watching this one. If that is the case, do leave a like, subscribe and press the bell icon, and if you have anything to ask, do leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible.